You know what you haven't given any thoughts recently? The Fate franchise. Historic great men and women from our collective past and the heroes and villains from many folk tales across the globe, gender bent more often than not, coming together and duking it out at the Waffle House. Great stuff. But I've always wondered, why aren't there more contemporary heroic spirits? Where is my Saber Obama, my caster Brandon Sanderson, cowards the lot of them at Type Moon? Thankfully, the fleshly minted into the English lexicon Isekai have the answer for us, and shows us what would happen if our main character was a modern human. So what person I'm talking about? Okay, maybe that's why Fate doesn't do this. Anyway, let's talk about the Rhydon King and what an enjoyable read it was, warts and all. The Rhydon King is a tale old as time when it comes to Isekai. A truck claims another victim, but wait, what's that? The truck missed? Well, don't get too ahead of yourself or you might lose your head. This joke is not up to my standard and I'm going to lose my stature. Oh fuck. This is Alexander Plutinov from the fictional state of Prussia. Not to be confused with Russia or Prussia, for that matter. I think the Germans have had enough representation in the Japanese media already. So Plutinov gets transported to another world with many new things to ride on. Because this Plutinov guy is based entirely on this one picture of Putin. He is a good Putin who likes to ride animals. That's him. And that's his motivation to stay around in this new world. Plutinov also has an assistant who is eerily similar to Natalia Poglanskaya, who became a meme in 2014, months after the Russian annexation of Crimea. And that's a can of worms we are not opening today. We are only focusing on manga today. And now, a spoiler warning for the first arc of Rhydon King. Want to go completely spoiler free? Read the first 3 volumes and come back here. I'm going to be upfront and say that Plutinov being based on Putin doesn't bother me, and there are a couple of good reasons for it. First of all, he's a rare isekai protagonist who is anti-slavery, which makes him based. His character could not be further from the real-life counterpart, so it's easy to separate the two, for me at least. Your mileage may vary, and I wouldn't disagree with anyone who refuses to support Rhydon King because of that fact alone. Second of all, the author probably realized that this could be read as supporting the real-life figure, so he has changed Plutinov's looks somewhat to a legally distinct president. Still, I doubt people ever see an anime adaptation, and the English localizer shut down years ago, which is a shame, since there are a lot of great qualities to this particular Isekai manga. The world building is way better than it has any right to be. I would go as far to call it stellar. There are multiple instances of explaining different cultures of our fantasy races and their biases and prejudices. What sort of gear adventurers use and how they wear it depending on their level. How common folk are treated when they are hit with hard times. Everything about this fantasy world is a delight. And even the gimmicks, like the Adventurers Guild, feel somewhat refreshing. The magic is well thought out, and there are few interesting applications of magic and how it can be used outside of combat. Still, the magic can't compare to the greatest spell, a gun. Bam, bam, Lucky Luke. Do today's youth know about Lucky Luke? I'm hip and cool, and definitely not alt-right. I pay my fanum tax. And me. Unlike myself, Rhydon King is also surprisingly funny. Most of the humor comes from our supporting characters, namely Saki and Bell, who are with El Presidente from the very start. There is what you expect, fish out of water humor with Plutinov, delusions of grandeur that lead to disappointments for our main trio. But what I want to highlight is a couple of moments that are straight ripped out of the fist of the North Star. And this type of deadpan humor works especially well on me. The art style and the fight choreography are also one of the strong points. It will get gory, and it doesn't shy away from depicting dismembered bodies after a sharp blade or a well-placed magical spell. Any series that shows one of our characters suplexing fantasy monsters 10 times their size is also absolutely fantastic, and more fantasy series should include martial artists that cast fist on orcs and can pile drive dragons. The Rhydon King also does some clever things with this Isekai premise that I won't spoil for you, since these happen after the first few volumes. I wouldn't call these revelations unique, but refreshing if you're a bit tired of the same old. Still, my favorite moment was when Plutinov said it's time to ride on and rode all over those creatures. The ending for our first arc is also interesting. In 2 chapters, our resident arc villain gets a lot of sympathy points for protecting innocent civilians from demons while not losing any of the disdain that we have for her by proclaiming that all she did was for herself and herself alone. Her final fate is also well done and fits her character like an armored boot. Oh yeah, demons. They do show up in a full Inquisitor garb that thankfully they quickly ditch, and I do love this design. I won't spoil anything about these demons since that's the plot for the next arc and you can find out that by yourself. Still, the design of this one particular demon is rather close to one popular rapid hero which debuted a year before this one, which is good. I should stop here. I fully recommend Rhydon King, especially if you're not bothered by the main character's design choice. It's a fun isekai fantasy romp that is a bit above the rest, and it's a shame that most likely it will be up to fan translations to keep up the series alive in the West, since the previous official localizer is dead and none picked up the slack. Maybe one day we might see an anime, never say never, since there have been way more out there stories involving real living people. Oh, the legend of Koizumi, my beloved. Yes, the Aryan Super Saiyan I referenced earlier is from here. If you don't fancy Rhydon King or the isekai aspect of it, but are interested in martial arts depicted here, then the author Papa Yasushi has done several long-running manga centered around karate and Colosseum, sort of groundwork for the Rhydon King, that has Plutinov as one of the characters along with Rasputin, but without the isekai aspect. Try that if you love everything about Rhydon King except the isekai part. I didn't personally gel with it, but your mileage may vary. Thank you for watching. Also, if you're interested, then on my community page I'm doing a short 1-2 line reviews of manga and manhwa that I currently don't have enough material for an entire YouTube video. Doesn't mean I won't cover them in the future. I try to post one once a day or one every 2 days and keep posting them for the foreseeable future. Till next time, thanks again for watching and have a good night.